G'day folks, time for another equipment autopsy. Tonight we have a Cockpit voice recorder. You've seen the data recorders. This F800 I did a little while ago. I did the Sunstrand, what was it? It was the UFDR the other night. Now I have a matching partner for the F800. This is the A100A Fairchild Cockpit voice recorder. It still appears to use the same tape mechanism as the F800, probably a different encoding type and all that sort of stuff. Doesn't appear to be digital, it's very simple inside. As far as I can tell, it's only missing one thing, which is a timing card. It's a 2-pin card, probably a crystal card, but it might still run okay without it. I don't know. It's sold as unserviceable as a collectible, so I don't expect it to run. I probably don't really expect it to have a tape in it, but yeah, it's come out of the United States, and yeah, it's a lot, as you can tell, it's a lot smaller than its data recorder counterpart, because it doesn't need to worry about synchro encoding. It doesn't have to have pitot static sensors, pressure transducers, anything like that in there. It is just purely a crash case with a tape recorder and basic audio amplification and read-write card, that sort of thing. There's really not much to it. There's 4 channels of amplification and really a read-write. There's a synchro. There's a, well, not a synchro. You'll see when I'll get it open. It's also got the Duquesne underwater beacon, expired April 2008 by the looks of it, 9/8. Was last tested 2006, 24th of the 11th. I don't have anything that fits that socket. 600 ohm aviation headset socket by the looks of it. It's only a 2-wire socket, so it's definitely not a data thing. It's a the older ones seem to have an analog VU meter on them. This one here seems to have a monitor which just says 600 ohms, so that'll be an aviation headset. But either way, let's open it up and have a look inside. It appears I've also fixed my lighting issue. When I did this one, it's actually quite dark, so yeah, don't play with the camera too much, you will upset it. Okay, as you can see, it's not really big compared with its data recorder counterpart, but it still should have some interesting stuff inside it. You can find a screwdriver that fits the screws. Actually, the screw heads are full of warranty label and adhesive by the looks of it. It's one way of keeping people out. Put so many warranty labels on it, the screw heads fill up and you can't get a screwdriver into them. Okay. Standard looking crash shell for a Fairchild, same as what's in the F800. Card rack's different, much smaller cards. Notably the timer one's missing, but that's only 2-pin, as you'll see on the back plane. The back, very similar, standard crash case, slightly different interface cable. There's the front headphone port, 2-wire. Inside there's an RS232 connection. About power transformer, main data socket, input socket, ultrasonic underwater locator beacon, and tape motor. I have already had this apart, the heatsink for that sitting on top of the banding machine, but very much the same mechanical casing as the F800 flight data recorder, but it's this stuff here that's going to be interesting, so let's get in a bit closer and have a look. Okay, so in here, apart from the timer board, we have, this should be starting with power supply. No, that's B, erase. So that's the erase card. It has some it's like metal cased relays. Oh, yeah, the relays. So 26 volts DC, 2300 ohm. Oh, coil. Yeah. Wet slug tantalum capacitor, polyfilm capacitor. Very basic stuff. A few metal case transistors. So that's an erase board. That will be erase. Go back in there. I'm sure these are keyed in such a way that you can only insert them in the right hole, but still. No, you can actually put them in the wrong hole. You've got to be sure. That is power supply. 2 resistors, 3 resistors, and some wet slug tantalum capacitors. That's about it. Nice big metal case diode. Mostly military spec equipment. And the other side. Oh, you go in there. Bias generator. 1 microfarad 100 volt. There's a few trim pots. Very nice test point, plastic shielded test points, and reasonably high grade looking resistors, and a nice big inductor. Look at that. That's a sweet looking inductor. So what are you? Oh, you're socketed. Huh. I was wondering why the whole transistor was coming out. He's socketed. You are a 2N5321. Yeah, 2N5321. The other 4 digits 8125. Okay. I haven't looked these up, so I don't exactly. I can't give you an idea what they are, but yeah. I'll get him back in there. That's cool. Timer is missing. It's only a 2-wire card, so it's probably not hard to replicate. This one is monitor card. Again, now we're starting to see some integrated circuits. They're all 2-piece ceramic package ones too. Very common in military and aviation equipment. Test point, wet slug tantalum caps. There's virtually no electrolytics. These all look like proper wet slug tantalums. The ICs, MC1558U, both of them. So being tape monitor, probably 2 channels maybe. No, there's only 1 trim pot on it, but yeah, both ICs are the same. They're Motorola MC1558Us. What are you? Test card, channel test card. That's the one with the main business on it. Made in Indonesia. 4566BDM. Yeah. Intercell ICM 7556MJD. F4016BDM. There's a Motorola chip. 140868B. Yeah, hard to tell what that's for. Well, we know it's a channel test card. I'm guessing it when you press test on the input panel, which I have on the shelf over there, it actually forces this thing to possibly replay some of the footage. It might rewind for a certain amount of time, then do a test replay that you can hear through your headphones. That's my estimation on this thing. I don't have a proper technical manual for this. I've got the one for the data recorder, but I don't have one for this yet. Yeah, your little 78M 112HC. That's a 2N1132. Yeah. Now, 4 channels. All these cards are the same. I've had them out before, but it's got, these are channel 1, 2 and 3 and 4 amplifier cards. So you've got 0.22 200 volt DC caps, Sprague caps, fairly decent quality stuff. You don't see that in your average consumer electronics, at least not unless it's very old. So 10K CT 50 milliwatt. Is it a current transformer? Huh. Might be, yeah. Interesting. Another trim pot. What are you? Your 10K. It's a 10K trim pot. And a little baby transistor. Can't quite make you out. 2.5. Where's another card? I'll see if it's easier to read off another one. Oh, looks nice and clear. 256 7907. 7907 rings a bell. Either way, they're amplifier cards, so it'll be op amp. C again 256005. Yeah. Very op amps. Just like the other one, they had 4 on one board. These are all split across 4 separate boards. So that's what I can make of that one. I mean, I'll have a quick poke around online and see if I can give you some information right off the bat on what these are, or the semiconductors. But there's really not much to it. It's just a glorified tape recorder. This probably won't be encrypting anything in digital. I mean, there'll be a timer to probably run the tape at a specific speed, but that's about it. I don't know. I've got to get in there, see if there's a tape in there. If I can run this at normal speed without running the erase heads, even pull the erase card out, and plug into the audio port on the front, might be able to read or hear what's coming out of it. Should be a lot easier to get information out of this than the digital data recorder, provided this has a tape in it. I don't know if there's a tape in this. There's no 100% guarantee of that one. So underneath, that's the missing board. That's the timer. You got one red wire. It's bridging across to here and back across. It might even go across to all these other pins. And then there's a black wire, and all of these other pins are completely unpopulated. The socket shows signs of a card being in there at some point, but there's, apart from the red, which goes bang, 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 seems to come across here and then go through here. It just looks like it's got 2 power wires. I don't know where the rest of it's gone, unless there's something missing out of here. I mean, there are screw standoffs sitting around, but they're in a place where they're not even practical. I don't know, maybe something is missing, but that looks more like an RS-232 interrogation port. You've got an audio headphone aviation headset plug-in port on the front there, and that's about it. So this will probably run alright, provided the power supply is okay. It'll probably run fine. One thing I did notice, there's a bit of bearing noise from the motor, so I wonder if the motor's just running erratically and causing issues. The other one is super quiet, like you couldn't hear it. This one here, you can hear a dry bearing in the little main drive motor. So that could be the problem. It would have been taken out of service for a reason, but anyway, let's have a poke around online, see if I can shed some more light on those two little main cards. We know what the 4 amplifier cards do, and we know what the others do, but power supply. But let's have a look at the test card and the other one. Okay, so that Motorola one there, looking at this data sheet, we are a 8-input NAND gate, L suffix case 632 ceramic. So that's that guy down there. The rest of these almost appear to be custom, so let's try one of them and see if we can find any info on them. But yeah, interesting. Okay, so some of these chips don't read or don't show up anything on Google. They appear to be completely proprietary, but the Intersil one here appears to be a dual 1 megahertz timer IC. I believe dual, as I say, 555 type dual package, so it's 2 555s in one package. Nothing special there. So yeah, not 100% sure what else there is. I mean, these guys here, 78MT2HC, made in Hong Kong. I should look this one up here. It's a 2N transistor. They're all socketed too, which is quite nice. Yeah, as I suspected, very common, very readily available metal case switching transistor. Nothing too special. So yeah, that's this guy here. This one here, I think I punched the wrong number in. I'm going to try again on this guy and just see what I can find. That's done. But yeah, some of these ICs appear to be custom made in Indonesia for them. Okay, well I couldn't find any data on the other little guy on that board. It's obviously some kind of test card, as it says on the can. Can't tell you much more than that. I know everyone's looking at it and screaming at me. It's like, it's easy. Yeah, you know how it goes. Yeah, it's too late to work that kind of shit out. Let's try and get into the important bit. Big stainless or stainless or nickel alloy crash can. The impact box, fireproof, well, it's not waterproof, but the tape's relatively water resistant, and the shell's resistant to very high impact, so it's easily the heaviest part of the unit and the most important part. Hopefully there's a tape inside. Yeah. Move it out of the way. Everything's Loctited, as you'd expect. I can't just spin them out by hand. I might actually have to remove the beacon from its holder. Yeah, it's getting frustrating. I think I'll take the beacon out of its holder. Okay, managed to take the beacon off. Obviously it's all tied together into the crash shell, so if the unit gets torn apart in an accident, the beacon has a good chance of actually staying attached to the important bit. Doesn't matter about the rest of the shell and the electronics, they're replaceable. The tape's not, so that's why the whole lot's tied in place with that ultrasonic beacon. Hoping past that. There we go. Go. That is a somewhat familiar sight. As you can see, it's got the mounting plate and everything integrated into it. And that will be a chassis. Alright, let's have a look inside the main casing. Assuming I can find my damn Allen wrench. It's fireproofing. It's not very heavy, but very effective at fireproofing. It sits in there on that big leaf spring. Whoa! Wow! That's not supposed to look like that. I think this thing's eaten the tape several times over. Well, that's an interesting autopsy. What a mess. Yeah, that tape's come apart. Ah, that sucks. I mean, it's still there, but what's that material come off? Looks like graphite. Something's shredded. Yeah. Yeah, that's nasty. It's graphite. The tape is still there. I wonder what that's come off. I wonder if a pinch roll is locked up or something. That's strange. Or whatever's in there. I mean, the tape itself wouldn't have this graphite-like material in it. It's strange. I'll bet if I blow all the loose material out of here, it'd work again. But that's slick like graphite powder. I wonder if that's what the tape's lubed with, and it's just gradually shed off and just fallen to the bottom of the housing. I mean, as long as the thing stays vertical, any debris will fall down the bottom here and just stay there. Strange. It might still be alright, but that's a hell of a lot of weird shed material. But that's not... It's graphite lube. Again, being non-magnetic, it probably won't mess around with the tape either. That tape's probably still okay. Although it looks like there's a lot of space between some of those layers. It has possibly snapped. Yeah, it might have snapped. Anyway, let's clean some of this crud out of it and just see if I can wind it over by hand and actually take up some of that slack. Because there is a lot of slack in there. Let's see it down there. Interesting. Well, when they said it was non-serviceable, they weren't kidding. I was expecting electronic gremlins, but this one is actually probably mechanically rooted. Okay, I've blown most of the graphite out of it. It appears to be tape lubrication. It's definitely not shredded tape. It looked like shredded pieces of plastic at first, but it's all graphite. And you can see it coming out with the tape. So that's just to make the tape extra slick as it passes through the mechanism, because it's going from centre to outer edge, which is pretty harsh on a piece of plastic tape, especially when it does it over and over again. So yeah, I'd say that's completely normal. It's not actually shredded like I thought. It looked like little shavings of just shredded tape, but it's not. That's what worries me. That looks like a degaussing coil. 2 wires, 1 plastic coil over the top of the tape. So that's like a quick erase. Hopefully they haven't triggered that thing, because I want to know what's on this tape. Hard part's going to be reading it, although it looks like we've got a standard. There's an erase head, a read head, and a write head. So with a bit of careful poking around, I could probably interrogate this thing quite easily. So yeah, the main thing is driving it at the right speed, and probably not even plugging it into the circuitry of the CVR. Just run a preamp or something on the head output and just see what it does, like a normal cassette player. I'd be willing to bet they probably wiped it, but I don't know, you never know these days. There's not really anything important out of a standard flight. But yeah, the tape's definitely not broken. Yeah. It's just very gently lubricated with graphite, and it's all just shed off and built up down here in the bottom of the shell, out of the way actually. Moving the thing around is what's freed a lot of the graphite up and make it spread itself through the mechanism, but again, no real harm can be done because it's there to lubricate all the moving parts. Very cool. Anyway, I'll have another little poke around with it, but this might be all for tonight. Okay, after some further inspections, it looks like the graphite is just that. It's just graphite lube. There's a hell of a lot in there, but it doesn't really do any harm. The tape looks fine. I can't play it back at the moment. I don't know how to play it back. But that will be the next step of this adventure, actually reading from it. For now, I'm just going to quickly put some screws back in it, put it back together again, and look for a manual online, and also look at how to possibly replay this. I don't want to run it because it will, well, the erase head might come on as soon as I start running it, so I've got to work out how to disable that one, and also hope that they haven't used this, what looks like a degaussing coil, and just blank the tape straight outright. That would be unfortunate. But either way, it seems to be intact. The tape doesn't appear to be broken. It still cycles. I've cycled it numerous times by spinning the flywheel. Yeah, what can I say? It works. The unit itself, I don't know if it's electronically okay, but we'll find out. I need to make up a harness connector to attach these to my GPU, and then we can run it properly. So yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more on these when we, well, I get together with Julian and we both try and run them and pull some data off them, because that could be kind of interesting.